Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Kepken and today we're gonna look at our best Shadow Priest talent tree builds from Dragonflight pre-patch. It's currently 30th of October, which means that it's like 1 month of pre-patch coming in front of us, and when expansion hits we're not gonna have access to our legendary abilities, to our covenant abilities, and we will have more talent points to spend, which means that all these builds are gonna change going into expansion itself. Which means if you want to see those updated builds, if you want more content like this about World of Warcraft and maybe some other stuff, subscribe to the channel 100%. Then shout out to Wowhead for providing us this great, magnificent learning information. I'm gonna put all the links to the article and builds in pinned comment below the video. About the author a little bit. Hello, I'm Ellipsis, moderator for Warcraft Priest, the Priest Discord. I work on Shadow Priest Theorycraft alongside the Shadow team. You can check out our work here. I'm often active on the Warcraft Priest Discord and free to answer any questions on queries related to Shadow Priest or any content in any of my guides. I read on Misty Moon on EU Taran Meal, formerly the Misty Moon Massive, and have rated between top 50 and 300 since Legion, but I've been playing Shadow Priest in some capacity for going on 15 years. So yeah, that's like our talented guide writers in here. Let's go for the information. We will have 2 builds in here, so less diversity than in some other classes. Shadow Priest raid talent build. This build is your bread and butter raid build. It focuses on dealing as much damage as possible in burn windows every minute thanks to Mindbender and Dark Ascension. It also uses Mind Spike as its primary filler spell instead of Mind Flay. Outside of Mind Flay Insanity. It has some AoE capabilities thanks to Shadow Crush, but struggles to maintain sustained AoE without access to Mental Decay. Okay, the utility talents at the top of the tree are necessary to reach the second section, but can be taken interchangeably based on the situation you find yourself in. The spec tree is very straightforward. Take every talent that can provide a damage bonus and then slot in utility that is relevant for the encounter you're doing. The build shown here is a good example. So I guess let's go with our starting post, with our general talent tree. So Shadow Fiend and Shadow Ward Death are already taken by default when we're taking our specialization. Then we're taking Dispel Magic, which definitely can be useful. Psychic Voice, which decreases cooldown of Psychic Scream. Then improved Flash Heal increases healing down of Flash Heal. Protective Light, casting Flash Heal on yourself reduces all damage you take by 10%, which is very, very good. Angelic Feather for additional mobility of you or your allies. Leap of Faith is to like get someone out of the trouble. Mass Dispel, of course, is definitely gonna be quite useful in raids, and improved Mass Dispel, which reduces cooldown and cast time as well. Then we're going for like what? Phantasm. Activating Fade removes all snare effects, which can definitely help you with some crowd control and raids. Death and Madness. If your Shadow Ward Death fails to kill the target, its cooldown or below at or below 20% health, its cooldown is reset, cannot occur more. So you have like a little bit more Shadow Ward Deaths. And here we have Tight Evasion. Shadow Ward Death deals less damage to you, which means just like, yeah, that's gonna be health effective. Void Tendrils summon shadowy tendrils rooting all targets, so AoE and crowd control. Power Infusion, definitely 100% gonna be taken, infuses the target with power, increasing haste. For 25 massive percent. Vampiric Embrace, your defensive cooldown. Sand Lane reduces cooldown of Vampiric Embrace, it just increases its effect. Then after power, I guess we'll like finish this part first. Twin of the Sun Priestesses, Power Infusion grants you 100% of its effect, so you're not as like, you don't really have choice. Are you increasing your own damage, or are you increasing the damage of your best damage ally? You're just taking both things in here. Twist of Fate, after damaging or healing a target below 35% health and gain increased damage, so yeah, you will just have increased damage and healing when boss is at low level. Halo creates a ring of shadow energy around you that quickly expands, healing allies and dealing shadow damage to enemies. So yeah, that's like your AoE additional ability. Fade reduces damage you take, which means that Fade is more of a defensive cooldown, even more of a defensive cooldown now. And Mind Games is our like Venthyr Covenant ability. We're taking it here, so it's just like your nuke that gives you utility as well. We're upgrading it. Your cast reduce the cooldown of Mind Games, which is very, very good because you will have way better uptime on that. And Shadow Perceptions Mind Games lasts an additional 2 seconds, deals additional damage, reverses, and has its utilitarian part increased as well. So yeah, then we're going into our specialization talent tree, where we're 100% taking our Devouring Plague, which is one of our significant damaging abilities. Dispersion, your defensive stuff that just like gives you very hard damage reduction. Shadowy Apparitions, when you use Mind Blast Devouring Plague, you create shadow version that goes to the enemy, one of our core stuff here as well. Silence, which interrupts enemy. Misery, Vampiric Touch also applies Shadow Word Pain to the target, and Shadow Word Pain lasts longer, and that's for you to easier apply your dots. Metal Fortitude, healing from Vampiric Touch and Devouring Plague when you are at maximum health will shield you, which gains you additional like this over the top part of your like shield that will help you survive any burst damages that can occur in like raiding encounters. Then Mind Spike, which doesn't have cooldown, blasts the target for part of Shadow Frost damage. And some other stuff that if we're taking talents for it. Surge of Darkness, your Vampiric Touch and Devouring Plague damage has a chance to cause your next Mind Spike to be instant and deal additional damage, and it stacks. Shadow Crush, hurl a bolt of slow moving shadow damage at the destination, dealing shadow damage to all targets within 8 yards, applying Vampiric Touch to all them, which is definitely interesting. Yeah, as you can see, it's not as like straight for only like solo oriented things here. Mind Melt, Mind Spike reduces the cast time of your next Mind Blast and increases its critical strike chance, stacks up to 2 times, which is definitely very good as well. Then we're taking Dark Ascension, increases your non-periodic shadow damage by 25% for 20 seconds. Yeah, that's just like very good cooldown for you to have. Puppet Master, your Shadow Fiend and Mind Bender grant you Coalescing Shadows. Each time they deal damage from your shadowy apparitions have 8% chance to grant a Coalescing Shadow. Shadowy Insight, Mind Blast gain an additional charge, and Shadow Word Pain periodic damage has a chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Mind Blast and cause next Mind Blast be instant. Dark Evangelism, your Mind Flay, Mind Seer and Void Torrent damage increases the damage of your periodic effects, stacks up to 5 times. Auspicious Spirits, so this one we've already, Ancient Madness, right? We've saw it or no? No. So Ancient Madness, Void Form and Dark Ascension increase your critical strike chance by 20%, reducing for 1% every second, and it lasts 20 seconds. Auspicious Spirits, your shadowy apparitions now deal 15% increased damage and generate additional insanity. And Mind Flay, Insanity, Devouring Plague, transform your next Mind Flay into Mind Flay Insanity. Yeah, so that's where we saw that thing, and that's mostly the only like things when the only time windows is when we're gonna like use our Mind Flay. Mind Flay Insanity assaults the target with way bigger damage and slowing their movement speed. With bigger damage than regular Mind Flay. Harness Shadows increases the chance for you to gain Coalescing Shadow when dealing damage with Mind Seer and Shadow Warden Pain by 2% and Mind Flay by 10%. You have a 100% chance to gain a Coalescing Shadow when critically hit by an attack. This effect can only occur every 6 seconds. Mind Bender is one of your like damaging cooldowns. You're getting this little mind bending pet of yours to fight inescapable torment. Mind Blast and Shadow Word Death cause your Mind Bender to teleport behind your target, slashing 5 nearby enemies and increasing the duration of Mind Bender as well. And then Idol of Yisharj. Summoning Shadow Fiend causes you to gain a benefit based on your target's current state or increases its duration by 5 seconds if no state matches. Healthy, you and your Shadow Fiend deal additional damage. Enraged devours the enraged effect, increasing your haste by 5%. Stunned generates 5 insanity every 1 second. And Feared, you and your Shadow Fiend deal 15% increased damage and do not break fear effects. So that's your raiding talent tree. You definitely can like look up to key talent points and know for yourself which ones are mandatory, which ones are not. And now Mythic Plus talent builds. There is one stock build for Shadow Priest in pre-patch M+. It focuses on applying and managing dots whilst dealing as much damage as possible with Psychic Link. So Mind Blast, Mind Flame, Mind Spike deal parts of their damage to all other targets afflicted by your Vampiric Touch in 40 yards, which is quite a big of a range. The spec relies heavily on AoE on Mind Devour. Mind Blast has chance to make your next Devouring Plague or Mind Seer cost no insanity. To provide the necessary number of Mind Seer casts to maintain dot uptime. Meaning Idol of Yogg Saron is the only capstone node within reach at level 16. So it's only for pre-patch like this. This build also uses Dark Ascension, as the raw damage provided every minute outweighs the additional operations you'd be able to spawn with access to Void Bolt. Okay, so let's go for let's look at our general talent tree, which looks the same. Yeah, general talent tree is the same, and with our specialization talent tree, we're not taking Mental Fortitude here. We're taking Psychic Horror, which terrifies targets, so that's like, yeah, that's our single target stun, which is definitely gonna be quite useful in M+. Then we're not going into Mind Spike part of the talent tree, we're taking Mind Seer, and we're probably placing all this talent in some other points of the talent tree. We're still taking some parts of so we're taking Psychic Link, yeah, that's what we've been said by the guide writer, which means that your single target stuff deals AoE damage. Additional, like, we're not taking Dark Evangelism, as here we're still taking Auspicious Spirits. We're not taking Mind Flay Insanity, instead we're going to Encroaching Shadows. Increases the initial damage of Devouring Plague and the damage of Mind Seer. Where we're taking Mind Devourer, Mind Blast has chance to make your next Devouring Plague or Mind Seer cost no insanity. And we're taking the Idol of Yogg Saron. After conjuring 100 shadowy apparitions, you summon a thing from beyond that serves you for 20 seconds. The thing from beyond blasts enemies for very massive shadow damage. And then what's our like changes in here? We're taking Mental Decay, and we're not taking Harness Shadows. Mental Decay is the duration of your Shadow Ward pain and Vampiric Touch is increased when enemies suffer Mind Flay or Mind Seer damage, which gonna make you maintaining your dots way more easy. Then we're taking Maddening Touch. Vampiric Touch has chance to generate Insanity each time it deals damage, yeah, because it's definitely gonna generate you a bunch of resource. And Mindbender is our last talent point in like this part of the talent tree. So yeah, that's quite a change for like middle and end points in talent tree in here. Yeah, again, you can see which talents are key, which talents are more optional. Yeah, it's quite obvious that utility ones are more of a preferred ones, but still you probably want your like Interrupt in M+, 100% stun as well, very good. Thanks for watching, hope you're having a good time. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and if you want updated content too that's gonna go into expansion release itself. Have a good day, I hope you're having a blast playing pre-patch, and you will have a blast playing expansion itself. Goodbye.